Hello, welcome to another part of Budmark's videos. If you are looking for a safe way to enter into a trade, this video is exactly what you were looking for. In this part, we are going to find a powerful strategy that not only gives us more important entries, but also makes us have to trade more, and the results are more stable. We are going to explore the full details of this strategy together, and see why it can be a real game changer for traders who are looking for better meter readings and more stable performance. In addition to that, let's examine the candlestick patterns used in this method, the psychology behind this type of entry, and the price movements that we may see in the market from the basic level to the advanced level. Not everything ends here. We are going to reveal to you the key rules and methods, which you can write with the same method to increase the number of possible slaves. So, if this topic is interesting to you, please like it now, and if you are new to us, subscribe to the page so you don't miss the next episodes. Using the entry strategy based on candle breakout is one of the most reliable ways to enter the trade. It is true that it may have a lower ratio of recipe rewards, but in return, it gives us far more entries, especially in large name markets. Before we go to the implementation steps and the detailed points of this strategy, it is important to understand why this method works and what makes your half superior to other methods. In order to increase the number of transactions confirmed today based on the concepts of Smart Mania, I will write a series of important principles. For example, we always wait for the price of a key area such as supply or dimension to reach it in higher time frames. After that, we will go to the lower order time and look for an indication of the real trend, or we will look for a few more places. For example, we will make a break until the price makes a clear break and close above the structure, and then we will trade in the money back. But as you know, most of the time, the price doesn't make a 3-deep return at all, so that it wants to return to the extreme block that was created after the sand job character. Also, in the situations where the price of the body of money increases, the question is, how can we stop losing good situations? We have two main solutions that we can use in order not to miss out on transactions with a high probability of success. The first option is to identify a change of character in a lower time frame. We should place a buy limit order or our purchase order in the balance zone or for Yalivi, as you said, which was created by the trend change wave, and then we will just wait for the price to return to activate our order and enter into the transaction. We have fully taught this entry technique in the previous episodes, but what if the price does not retrace at all? What if the price starts to move directly? This is where we have to have another method that can keep us in the market and not fall behind the positions. That's why we go to the second entry method, which is specifically for this kind of description, which is to use the candle break entry method in higher time frames. Now, let's go through the basics of this strategy step by step. Breakout detection is the first step to detect a real failure in the market structure. Usually these failures are with a candle. They are accompanied by power and explosiveness that break the key structure. We call this candle engulfing candle or cover candle. This pattern occurs when a strong candle completely covers the previous candles and shows that an important change in strength and momentum is forming in the markets. Carba is correct in different time frames. This strategy can be used in all time frames, but its best performance is seen in higher time frames like 4 hours or daily. Why? Because in higher frequencies, the signals are usually clearer, more reliable, and the market noise is less. Candle breakout strategy has its own merits. One of its biggest merits is that the probability of losing entries is reduced, and you no longer need to be constantly on the chart and adjust everything from moment to moment. On the other hand, this method is much more regular and predictable because you know exactly what you are looking for and what conditions must be met in order to enter the market, but it also has some disadvantages. For example, sometimes you may face a fallout, and since in this method we usually have a bigger damage limit, the ratio of small entry will be lower. Go is done when the failure occurs at a key level that is identified from the west during the higher form, such as Nani Urza and Tagaza. But there is a very important point. Entries are only valid in specific time frames, that is, only on 3 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and 4 hours, so these time frames are the only options to use in this strategy. Now, let's get to the executive order of this strategy and see how we should use it in the market. Brush the house of the structure of the bazaar in more than 1 hour. We see that the price of a strong money liquidity has created just above Masaba's pages and is placed just above the last bearish block that has not yet been tagged. Here, the main idea is to wait until the price reaches a key level, such as the demand sublay that has not been sissed, and entering a relatively favorable position for entering the market. Well, now we have this price range that has not yet been closed. Considering that the general trend of the market is falling, we are looking for the same position. Now let's assume that the price is backing up to this area of supply and entering the newly entered supply area. There is something in the pattern that we want to see near the supply area. First of all, we want a strong candle to come into the desired area and put pressure. Then we need to see the price reaction, which means the market will start to react to that woman. And somehow, he rejects it. This reaction may be with one candle, or even several candles in a row. Next step, I want an engulfing candle that will also use the supply side to absorb the reaction candle. Now, these constructions are not necessarily always formed in a candle cycle. It may take a few more candles. The main point is that we are looking for the last candle that will swallow the reactive candles and leave the region with a breakout supply. What does it mean? It means that the price should be lower than both Lay's Batty and Lay's, and it should be lower than those reactive candles. Before we go to the trading examples, there are a few important points that we need to know in order to get this strategy right. As we said before, this strategy can be used in all time frames, but it works much better on a higher time like 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours. Why? Because in the time order above, mitigation, rejection, and breakout phases usually happen in the same obstacle structure or a clear structure. At the risk of this time, we run this model on higher time frames. It is more reliable and has a more serious performance. But if we run the same in lower time frames, we usually have a different scenario in lower time frames. The price goes to the level I want. Usually it enters the stabilization phase. That is, it starts to run and makes several small candles in a row until the market decides its next move. What is it? A two-legged body may form several engulfing candles in a row without having a clear rejection phase. Sometimes, even after making these candles of this gulpin, the price may put another pressure on the final sublay, and it will penetrate deeply. That's why we recommend that you work on higher time frames, like 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours. Because the signals we receive are clearer, more reliable, and give better processing. As we said before, this ergo does not always appear in a candle structure. The main thing is to make a previous engulfing candle a chance to break out of the desired area and completely remove the previous reactive candles, whatever their body or composition. Another very important point is that we should look for this death only when the price reaches an untouched region. Not that we want to find it in the same way as a syllable on Chad or in Soto that has already been touched. Adhering to all the rules of this strategy is very important. If you don't read them, you can easily lose a part of your cool. Here we have a 1 hour chart of the euro-dollar width, and the scenario is that we want to open a short position. The market is in a very specific downward trend. We have a structure with low lows and low highs, which is a clear indication of selling pressure and compliance to go down. Recently, the price of a Saudi move has collected the liquidity from a level that was previously built, and now it is approaching a block area, a region that was created due to a strong innovation in the market. One of the ways to enter can be to set a limit on the lowest point and region and wait until the price reaches it and the trip is activated. But if you want a safe entry and have more preparation, you can use Candleberg half strategy. In this way, we wait for a special candlestick pattern to form, which will give us a signal that the previous move will end or continue, and then we will trade with Arde. The first step to implement this strategy is to make the price reach the desired key area. In this example, we can see that the price is pushing with a few profit candles to the XRMI area that exists in 1 hour. But little by little, this Saudi momentum is weakening, which shows that the mitigation phase is coming to an end and we are entering the rejection phase. The beginning of this pass is when it becomes clear that after a series of profitable candles, a bearish candle appears behind me. This means that the sentiment mark may change from bullish to bearish, indicating a reversal or a continuation of the downward trend. Here, we have identified the first sell candle in that area, which is considered the reaction candle after that an engulfing candle is formed, which also breaks the target area below that. And the candle takes the previous reaction and even some imitation candles. This movement confirms that he is respecting the area of interest. With this preparation, I will enter the virtual market and take a short position. To execute the transaction, we will wait for the closing of the same engulfing candle, and I will set the price exactly on the same level above the highest castle of a few recent candlesticks, so that I can manage the reset. We don't have many options for tick profit, or we can target the last Liquidity sell. Or let's go to the next liquidity sell, which is an important point in terms of attracting sales. But remember and note, it's better not to leave tick profit too far, because you don't want our transactions to be in our arms for a long time. Well, now let's go to another example of the euro-dollar on the 1 hour trend. In this scenario, the market is now in a Saudi trend, and they are breaking the Saudi structures one after the other. We have a well-developed block in the Yaksaram region, under which a liquidity dynamic is taking shape, and it is also exactly under the top line of Saudi Arabia. This combination can be a good opportunity to enter into a long trade. We expect the price to go down at all, so that I can touch that black XRM order. If we get the adjustment that we are looking for, we can enter into the purchase transaction very easily. Now let's see how the transaction will proceed. As we expected, the price put a downward pressure. It didn't happen. If we look at the shape of the candles in this area, we can see a clear structure. After that, the price reacted to an area and showed a rejection with the second candle. Now we have the preparation we were waiting for, an engulfing candle that came above the block and closed, and completely burned the previous reaction candle. With this confirmation, we are ready to enter the market and open a long position. For this purpose, we place a buy shield on the closing of the same angling candlestick, and we also place stable loss below the bottom of the reaction candlestick. Our target is the liquidity side, which is above those shuns, and as we expected, after the formation of candor engulfing, the price moved strongly upwards and finally crossed those sungs, and it has reached exactly the level of our single profit. Now let's take another example. Here is the euro-dollar chart on the time frame of 1 cent. Now the price is on a downward trend, and we have a few breakoff structure, which confirms the downward trend. At the end of this movement, we have an unmitigated order block, which is caused by a strong infection in the market. In addition, a large amount of liquidity has formed above these castles, which has not yet been swept. All these factors make the extreme order block a very important area for a short position. Of course, if the price goes back up and that area is tagged, let's see how the price moves. At the moment, we see that the price has come up with a strong Saudi momentum, and it is creating that order block. While Saudi Egypt is still holding its own, even though the price reached that black extreme order, and it was tagging the region with a few candles, but no clear break has happened with an engulfing candle yet. So, we will see what can happen. Finally, an angel pink candle became suspicious, which came under the black and broke the previous candles. Based on this, I will make a trip to close this candle, and I put stables exactly above it. We consider two targets for tick profit. The first is the closest swing low, and the second is the lowest swing low. Now let's see what the result will be. The price continues to fall, and now we have reached our first target, and now we have hit the second target. It is very good that both profit ticks are exactly according to the prediction of the transaction. This transaction seems to be as we expected. Well, this is the end of the video. Thank you for staying with us until the end of the video. I hope my video was useful and informative for you, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It will be profitable and enjoyable.